The Still Spinning podcast is sponsored by Athletic Truth Group, a sports training gym in Clearwater, Florida that specializes in pound-for-pound strength through the deepest possible ranges of motion in order to bulletproof the joints while transforming athleticism and elasticity. The owner, Ben Patrick, claims that his new system of training is far superior for athletes than any other traditional programs out there, since they stem from powerlifting and bodybuilding and do not come close to covering the intricacies of the human body in relation to athleticism. Ben would love for you to check out his YouTube channel, Athletic Truth Group, where he's giving away all his secrets away in daily YouTube videos, which are designed to give you real solutions that you can immediately apply to your training. Welcome to the Still Spinning Podcast 61. Today is a solo rant. I just went crazy and I felt like I needed to get something out there before I head on to vacation. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you for all your support. If you want to support me even more, you can subscribe to my YouTube, subscribe to my podcast on iTunes, rate it. It's on Spotify, it's on Stitcher, wherever you're listening to this, on Google Play, I think. And you could also help me out by subscribing to my Twitch. I'm a Twitch affiliate, so you can subscribe monthly to that. I play 2K. And my Patreon, you could donate $1 a month, and there's the first 50 people to do that, I FaceTime once a month, so that's pretty cool. And I'm going to try to make Patreon a little bit more involved, see what I can do to make that a thing. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy, and let's go. Still spinning, never forget. I'll see you soon. Dunk Journey's always going, even on vacation. You'll see what I say. See ya.
Hey yo, I'm easily fascinated. I'm feeling so creative. It's your boy Stevie, I'm a planet Earth native. I'm enjoying all the moments cause it's such a thrill living. And I'm not sure if you notice, listen up, we're still spinning.
Yo, so I'm going to Hawaii, and it is probably the most exciting trip I've ever been on or about to be on. I don't know when this is played out, by the way. I'm probably going to try to post it on Friday, which is the day I leave. Maybe post it while I'm at the airport. Anyway, the point is, I really wanted to get on the podcast before I leave just because I had so much to say, and I hadn't found time to do this because my workouts come first and my Dunk Journey videos, my vlog comes first, and I just had so much planning to do for the trip and get all my camera and gear, got a new laptop, things like that. I just really wanted to get back on the mic and the podcast to kind of just go off on some things. But first of all, Hawaii, super pumped. I've never been. I think it's one of those places everyone wants to go. I don't see why anybody wouldn't want to go, and I can't believe people live there, so I'm super pumped to see what they actually are like living there at all times. I know my boy Ryan lives there. Hopefully we get to link up and dunk, side note, but it's just insane to me. It's just like a trip that I've always wanted to do, and I can't believe I'm actually going, and there's so many places I want to go, and I kind of wanted to just talk about travel in general, because every time I travel somewhere, it's, even if it's just similar, even just another city in America that's like similar to where I live, it's just different. You can get a different energy. Like when I went to DC, the people were just a lot different than around here. Here it feels like touristy, and it's not just because it is. I mean, it's very touristy, and you know that in your head. It's just that the people you meet, you can tell they're kind of like, they don't feel like at home. They feel like they're at a place like themselves, not that they're out of place to me, but like in DC, it felt like everybody was living there and it felt homey, and when you walked into a place, people would talk to you and things like that. So you get a way different energy just from different cities, and I love that about traveling. So I'm super pumped to see what Hawaii is about. I know I'm going to love it because my favorite things ever are going to the beach in the sun and the ocean and nature, and there's mountains and waterfalls and stars. There's going to be like the observatory over there. It's called the Keck Observatory. Just Google image that, Keck Observatory. It is out of this world. And if you know me, I love stars, and I love actually taking pictures of stars. I did it when I went to Alaska, but this is going to be next level. It's like an actual observatory. It's like an island. It's just crazy that there's just islands in the middle of the water, and that they're still out there, and it's just people live. It's just all nuts. But so pumped to go there. But when you learn things and when you go there, no matter what, you're gonna have some kind of perspective, even if it's just like, see, this new laptop, you see that? I'm not on point with it yet. So sorry about that. By the way, I got to talk about this new MacBook. But when you go and you get new perspectives, even if it's just like a mountain, you've never seen that type of mountain, a different waterfall, the perspective you get of like, there's just different land out there. Like, you know what a waterfall is and you know what a mountain is, but when you see it for your own eyes, it just like changes the way you look at land and the planet. And that's what I love about it. And that's kind of like how I live all aspects of my life, and travel is just a great way to do it, for like physical and like physical land and things like that. But I also wanted to just stress how important it is in my life to work on what you like to do and just get started, because a lot of times there's a million reasons not to get started. For example, like for me trying to do YouTube, if someone else is trying to do YouTube and they say, hey, I want to do it, but like if 5 years, if that doesn't go well, I'll be wasting 5 years, something like that. Or in 10 years, if I change my mind, what all of that is for a waste. And I get that, and like there might not be money in it, or a platform might change, things like that. But you got to get started and just do it, because it's so hard to explain what you'll learn by doing it, but you learn the most by doing it. And there's so many different things about the process, which I've talked about in other podcasts, and I go into detail about those things. But travel is like the perfect example of that. Is like by going there, I'm going to learn about something, especially like bringing my MacBook, more from just like the away from the land aspect. Obviously, it's going to be amazing to see that landscapes and those beautiful sceneries, but like I'm going to bring my MacBook, I'm going to try to edit a vlog, I'm going to see how much I can edit, see if I can do a vlog a day, things like that. So I'm going to learn so much about that process, and I don't need to do that. I could take a week off. Not that it's the best thing for my YouTube. I love to be consistent, and it's also great for content, but just gonna like not challenge myself, because it's not like a challenge where I want to get it done one a day. I just want to see how much I can do and what I learn about vlogging on the traveling, because I learned a lot the first time when I went to Alaska last year for a week. I brought my old laptop, and that one was really slow, but it did help me at least organize. I could like clean things off my camera and organize it into days. But since I didn't get like started editing it all, after a week of footage, I was just like, you kind of forget what each day's story was. So what I'm excited about this time is like even if I don't upload it every day, I want to like start editing even a little bit at night, just so I can kind of capture the way the day went and get that story told for each day. And that's something I'm looking forward to learning about, and how to edit while I travel, because I really have so many places I want to go in the world, and it's just crazy to me how many places there are. If you just look at a map, I was looking at a map the other day with a friend, and we're just looking at all over the world. There's like this place, Kiribati, I think it's called, in the middle of the ocean. I think it's all the way east of like Asia, like all those countries. And it's like this tiny little thing. Look it up. There's a documentary on it. And it's like, my friend was telling me it was 9,000 years ago that they found this little island. And we celebrate Columbus finding this giant landmass. Obviously it's important, but like somehow these people found this tiny little speck of an island, smaller than Hawaii, that's one island 9,000 years ago, and they still live there today, and it's wild. So like there's places, I don't want to go there probably, but there's places all over the world that their cultures are just so different, and when you go experience that, obviously you learn so much, but it's not about that you learned a lot, it's about what you learn, and it's like it changes you and you keep growing is the whole point. And so like it's similar in this traveling aspect to me getting this MacBook. It's a brand new for me. It's very new. It's a 2017, but it's my first MacBook since I got my very first MacBook computer, which was in 2013. I got a 2011 computer, and I used that 2011 computer from 2013 to 2018 for 5 years. All my YouTube videos, every edit on that computer. Until this year, I got my desktop that you see right here. If you see my desk, it's a mess right now. I have a laptop on and a keyboard, my big desktop. And so that desktop, over those years of editing with that, I learned processes, how to make it fast and like templates and stuff. But then when I got the desktop that let me edit super fast, it just skyrocketed me. So when you do these things, if I wasn't editing beforehand, I wouldn't have learned what I wanted to do, and then I wouldn't have even strived to get the desktop. But once I learned about what I want to do on YouTube, and I kept doing it, and I realized I've kind of maxed out my capacity, I worked towards getting that desktop, worked some extra jobs and things like that, and that's how I got this MacBook as well. And you just save up, and you set tiny goals. Everything is tiny goals, and you want to use your energy towards what you want to do. That's what I really want to get to as well, is like really come down to make sure you're spending your time and your money, which are basically the same thing, because if you're making money, you're spending time to make that money. So if you're spending your time and money on something that's purely for what you want to do, you really have to dive deep to make sure everything you're doing is not a distraction. Because for me, is like sometimes in my life there was times when I didn't want to deal with something, or so I would go to the gym like twice a day, but I was really just distracting myself, even though the gym is a positive thing, getting swole. But it's like if you're working on something like a skill that maybe your friends are doing and you just want to do it with them, and you see it makes them happy or something, but you got to really be true to yourself and find what you like to do, because when you do and you start working on it, people might push back at first because it's not what they want to do, it's not what they thought you were into. But if you're doing what you want to do and you get good at that thing, you'll be the most happy. And then once you get good at it, they'll be on your side. They'll realize like, oh, you really are into this. Like dunking's a perfect example. When I first started, people just thought it was like a joke, like a goal, like maybe I'll give it a try. But then, so they weren't really back. Nobody was like supporting. Nobody was like, you can do it. No one was like, I know you can do it the way it is today. Like, it was just because like nobody saw it happen. They didn't think it was possible. And it was not like a negative thing. They just didn't really take me seriously, you know? And so when I did it and now I'm getting good at it, now everyone that I would talk to is like super proud and super on board, and like it makes them want to do what they want to do, you know? So just make sure every ounce of your energy is put towards what you want to do. And Hawaii is one of those things that I cannot wait to just go spend all my energy over there, because I want to see what that place is all about. I want to see the big surf. I want to see the nature. I said it a million times, but I'm just so excited to be out there. And it's a place that, like I said, it's like, it's basically paradise. It seems that way. I've always wanted to go, not even because I thought about traveling. It's just like when you think of the world, it's like Hawaii, just everyone knows it as paradise. And it's like, for me, loving the sun as much as I do already, and like being outdoors and the beach and like what feels natural and what my body needs, it's like that's the perfect place to do it. And I can see the stars. It's like the best place to observe stars. It's just too much. So I'm super pumped about that. And this podcast, this specific episode, is a great example of what I'm trying to talk about too, is that I didn't do one for a couple weeks. I had a couple guests that I couldn't link up with. We were supposed to do it on Wednesday or whatever, and like they didn't come through, or that we weren't able to link up the right times. So I didn't want to leave for vacation without this. And even if I don't post this on time or whatever, I just wanted to get on the mic to say some things to keep that ball rolling, because it's all about those little things that keep you moving forward, because those tiny wins, because they really add up. And it's like you can't take a full step until you start moving at all, you know? So even though it's like this podcast might not be with a guest, or it might not be anything crazy, like something new happened like after Hawaii, I have so much to talk about. It's nothing like that, but it's definitely, for me, it's something that I feel like would help you guys and whoever's listening get started on what they want to do. And that's what I really want to send, is that energy to get started on whatever you want to do, because every second you waste, any energy you waste on something else could be towards your goal. So first things first, be true to yourself, find out what that goal is, and get clear about it. Figure out if you want to do something because you thought that's what you want to do and you just want to finish that goal. If that's true, if that's the case, it's really hard to go against yourself, because sometimes you may have had a goal when you were younger, or like you had a vision of what you wanted, but your ideas change and your mind's change and you've had different experiences, so now you completely change what you want to do, and it's hard to like give up on a goal that you had. But if that goal is not what's giving you energy and not what's really like what you want to do, you're passionate about, find what that is and work towards that. It's all about improving yourself, and that's the fun part to me. And the reason I say it so many times is because I found what, like, that improvement, that progress is the most addicting thing. And also it feels like you can keep getting better, and the level you can get at is like never ending. And then you could just enjoy this life to the fullest. Still spinning. That's the motto of this podcast. Enjoy life to the fullest, pretty much. And it's about everything under the sun and beyond the sun. That's a stupid motto. Anyway, so yeah. So, where was I going? So find what you want to do. Find that goal, no matter how crazy it is. Think of that crazy goal. I say start with the crazy goal and then work backwards and see what you could do right now to work towards it. Like if you want to be anything, like anything in the world, you have to get there. So just make one step, even if the one step is make an email account, so that way you can accept email, and then you just get started, and you just chip away. Because, and the other thing I want to talk about, the reason I'm like in this mode right now is because I got this MacBook, and it was been a huge goal of mine for a long time. Not that it was really that hard to attain, I just had to get the money for it, but I also wanted to feel like get it at the right time, because I didn't really need it. I really did well with this desktop for months. I think it was been like 6 months already, and it was a lot cheaper. It was like half the price of this laptop still, a little bit more than half the price, but it got the job done, and it skyrocketed my ability. But this MacBook was always like, after they got the desktop, I was doing well for a little bit, and then my MacBook, my old one, is just like way too slow. I'm not going to be able to even keep up with the videos I make, so it was like basically pointless to take on any vacations. But now I have the freedom of editing at the level I got myself to, anywhere at any time, as long as I have this MacBook and the charger and the mouse. You know what I'm saying, though. But it's just like anytime I have the freedom to do it, and it's just a huge milestone in the process of me trying to reach my goal of being a full-time YouTuber, because now I can take trips whenever I need, and I can even just go somewhere and have my abilities with me. So I had to sacrifice that for a little bit and edit even harder, like meaning on some days where I know I was going away for the weekend, I wasn't going to be able to edit. I would have to edit double time, get things published and ready, so I can post them on a Saturday when I'm not in town, or a Sunday I could just log in and post it, things like that. But now you just keep getting better at your process. Whatever it is, you keep adding things that make you more efficient, that make you faster, and also keep growing and just improve your process. I know I just said like the same thing 3 times, but the point is, if you keep chipping away, you keep getting better and getting closer to your goal, and it's the best feeling. And I really just want more people to know that, and like look at themselves and figure out what they're doing that's positive, and what they're doing that may be a distraction that they think is positive, but they're not really taking time to look deep into themselves, and then also figure out what they actually want to do. And I'm going to probably cut it there because I feel like I'm talking in spirals, but I hope my point got across. I'm just super excited, and Hawaii is going to be insane. I really look forward to trying to make dope content every time I'm there. I'm going to be posting on my story a lot, just like as I'm going through the travels, because I do want to be in the moment. So it's not going to be like an in-depth friggin' analysis of Hawaii, but I'm going to capture like big moments and just anything I can, and try to make it funny and cinematic. But I'm going to have my friggin' GoPro. Oh, I just found out the iPhone X is waterproof. Like, you can submerge it under water for like 20 minutes, no problem. So like, that's big, but I still don't trust that. Even though I watched the guy do it on YouTube, I don't really trust that, but that's good to know. But I'm going to bring my GoPro, my drone, my good camera, and my iPhone does the dope time lapses. So I'm going to get like so much footage, and it's just like, oh, and when you chip away too, is like this MacBook just relieves so much stress, because I don't have to worry about slow editing on my old MacBook. I could edit on the fly. I can edit while I'm on the plane, and I can not only, like I did in the last trip, and just organize my clips every night. I can like get started here and there, and I don't have to just, because when you make a lot of videos and take a lot of pictures, it gets bogged down. So after a week of traveling, if you go back to edit that, it's so much footage to go through, and it's really hard to remember the moments of what, like, the story behind it. But so now with this MacBook, it's not only giving me the ability to do it more often, but also relieve so much stress knowing that I could get started and kind of chip away. It doesn't really pile up on me. So that's huge. But anyway, the water, I'm going to have so much more freedom, and that's what the goal is, really. And oh, and by the way, the manifesting thing that I talked about in the podcast a few months ago when I started the dunk journey, tomahawk dunk I did not complete, but I explained that in another one where I just, like, my whole training shift, and now I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, about to be in the best shape of my life too. I feel like I gained so much muscle and strength, and I kept my leanness. So now I feel like I'm just as lean as I was before the strength phase, but I have like 5-6 pounds more of muscle, and now I'm just going to lean out even more but maintain that strength. So I really feel like I'm going to be the most lean I've ever been and jump the highest I've ever been, because I've been jumping pretty good, maintaining my vert really well while I got heavier and got unathletic. So now if I just get back on point and just have that strength and maintain it, I don't think there's any way I don't jump my highest ever. And that took a lot of learning, because the last strength phase I did poorly. I got heavy and I just lost all my athleticism, dug myself a huge hole, and I just had to come out of that hole. But now it's like I felt like I did it right, and that's just another example of chipping away. Is I didn't give up when I did the strength phase and it failed. I learned from it, and now I can make the real progress. So obviously I would have loved to know this beforehand, but I had to learn it so that way I can feel it. It's all about the feels. Anyway, I'm manifesting, trying to visualize every day, and what's it called? I was trying to get $10,000 a month on YouTube by December, make $10,000 a month. That is still in the works, obviously, because it's not December. I'm visualizing it every day, but it hasn't really increased. My revenue's been about the same for the past couple months, but that's the thing about it, is you kind of just put it out there, you visualize it, and you don't really worry about it. You can't just harp on it, because then you're going to be focusing on the lack of what you have. You want to focus on just like being in the moment. And when you are in the moment and you realize like I'm so aware all the time, it's like it makes every moment so great. Like if you try to treat every moment as if it was like amazing, because it is, you're like a human and you're walking around and you get to go to these places. It's amazing, and it makes life so much more enjoyable, and also like it just makes you feel like you can do anything, because why not? There's all these these billions and billions of stars, and we barely made it here, and we're going to be here for like 100 years maybe. And so that's the last thing I'm going to leave you with, is when you find your goal, shoot for that crazy moon goal, I call it, because there's no reason you can't do it. If you just keep chipping away, you just never give up and do it. And it's just like we barely know what's possible. Like we have our senses, and there's like some waves in the air and radio waves, like you're listening to this through your ears probably, that you can't even see, but we know how to work. And so like there's so much more of that if you believe you can do it, and the power of your mind and just nonstop work, you can do anything. So shoot for that moon goal and work backwards. And let's just go, boy. I'm done talking, man. I'm done ranting, but I love making this podcast. I love making the YouTube videos. I'm excited to be editing this on my new MacBook and posting it from a friggin' airplane. That's going to be sweet. And I just feel like I can podcast all over the place. Eventually, I'm going to travel to people and just set up my friggin' computer in their apartment and just podcast and interview all my friends. It's going to be fun. I really thank you for watching all my videos and listening to this podcast, and I really look forward to making some dope content from Hawaii, so stay tuned for that. I really love making good content, and this is an opportunity of a lifetime to go crazy. All right, thank you. We're still spinning. Remember that. Toodaloo.